Today we're going to be talking about two-point perspective, the challenge version. So your materials that you're going to need is a pencil, an eraser, a ruler, and of course we'll be using paper and colored pencils. Step 1, draw your horizon line. Step 2, mark your vanishing points. Remember, with two-point perspective, you will have two vanishing points. Step 3, mark your front edge. When we're working in two-point perspective, we're not going to do a front face, but rather a front edge. Step 4, draw your orthogonal lines. These are going to be the lines that help you create your left and right faces going back into space. At this point, it's important to remember that all horizontal lines are going to go to a vanishing point, and all of your vertical lines are going to be perpendicular to your horizon. Now we're cutting the shape short. So again, all vertical lines are perpendicular to the horizon. Let's create those back faces. I'm using a dotted line because these lines are not going to be seen, but it's important to know where those faces are. So here we're creating the bottom face. Up above we created the top face. And remember, where these lines intersect, that's going to be a good indicator of where your back line is. And I'm going to slide this ruler over so I can kind of keep it parallel and see what I'm doing. We're going to create that dotted line for the back edge. Now let's erase any lines you don't need. This is something you should do frequently throughout, just to kind of keep track of what you're looking at, what you plan on keeping, what you don't plan on keeping. You can keep these dotted lines in here if it helps you with any kind of stuff that you're doing. So we have the left front face, we have the right front face, we have the left back face, and we have the right back face. Clean up any lines that we erased earlier. All right, step 7, let's cut a hole out. Remember, we're trying to challenge ourselves here. So again, all vertical are going to be perpendicular to the horizon, and all horizontal are going to go to vanishing points. If you mess up this step, it's going to look wrong. So I'm closing in that hole. This is our opening. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm sort of following along these edges. Again, this is going to be dotted. I'm going to take these corners back to the vanishing point, because on the inside I will see where that is, but I'm not going to see it on the outside. Now, you can see these lines, but only until they're hidden inside the tunnel. So from that point on, I'm going to dot the line. And dot past that point. Now it's starting to look a little crazy on the inside. So I want to try to figure out where that hole is on my back face. So if this is running all the way through like a tunnel, I'm going to have a hole on the back face. So let's find the hole in the right back face. What I'm doing here is I'm continuing this line to see where it intersects with the edge, and then I'm going to line that edge up, again using a dotted line. And this is going to be the point that matches that point in the face. Now I know if I take this point right here and I aim it back to my vanishing point, this line matches this line, and this line here matches this line. That would be the top of the hole. So I'm going to do the same thing to kind of figure out where my side wall is. So I'm going to dot that line back. Where it intersects on the top, that's going to be matching points, and I'm going to take it straight down from there. And dot that line as well. And now I have this edge being pretty much, well, not congruent, similar to that edge, because it is smaller as it goes back in space. So again, continue that on. We're going to mark this point here, take it back. We're going to see where that intersects with that back corner, and then we're going to take that to the other point. And now I have those lines in there. So let's darken up what I'm using right now, and this is just for video purposes. You don't have to actually do this part here, but I want to have a nice clean image of what I'm looking at. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken up the lines I plan on keeping and drawing light lines in there so you can start to see this structure as like a translucent structure, or maybe a transparent even structure. I'm going to keep these other lines that you cannot see a lighter line. I want you to be able to imagine where these shapes are. And just for video purposes, I'm marking that off. So you can kind of see how this rectangle pushes back into space. And then erase out anything I don't need. And if you erase out too many lines, you can always go back in and add them later. So I'm cleaning up my work as I go, that way I can keep track of what I'm doing. Now again, I'm not going to keep all of these lines when my final piece is done, but it's a really good way of keeping track of where everything is while I'm working, because I don't know how many other holes or tunnels or anything I would like to cut out of this. But now I can see the front and I can see the back areas. Okay, so I'm going to speed things up using the similar process. Just kind of follow along and watch what I am doing. So think about options. Here I'm creating something that is cutting through. So that tunnel is an opening and this shape is running through that opening, like a train going through a station. Now I'm going to create some structure up above, and because it is floating, you can see the bottom of that structure. I'd like it to be connected somehow. So I'm going to try to work this piece here and make it like a weird intersecting walkway that sort of moves and changes. Kind of like an Escher world or something. Or if you're more familiar with the Labyrinth and the Goblin King. Almost looks like the Goblin King staircase coming in. So now I'm coming up and I'm attaching it. Making sure, oh, that wasn't good because it didn't line up very well. So making sure that everything makes sense, looks really good. Pay attention to which of the points you're taking it to. Now I'm going to clean all this up so I can see what I'm really looking at.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on.
All right, now if I want that actually going through, then I need those lines to come in. Erase that part out. Now it looks like it's going through. Nice, crisp, clean lines. And you can start to see all the endless possibilities that you have. And once you get the hang of two-point perspective, this is really simple to do. I know it looks crazy and complex, but it's actually very, very simple. You just have to master that idea of two-point perspective. And then it's like the whole world is yours when you do that. Got a little carried away on this one. This was supposed to be just the first introduction, but I got so carried away that I figured a lot of my students who are new to two-point perspective wouldn't be able to follow this, so this now has become the challenge. For those that two-point perspective is easy, I encourage you guys to challenge yourself because it's a lot more fun doing this. I could have kept on going and going and going, and I had to eventually stop. Maybe this summer I'll make one where I just keep going and going and going, and I will do a video demonstration of that just for fun. I won't have time until this summer to do it. All right. So that's looking pretty cool. Again, always remember that all horizontal lines are going to go to one point or the other, whichever side it's facing. And all of your vertical lines are going to be straight up and down. It's going to be a lot of erasing as you're working, and that's why it's really important to draw things really lightly until you figure out how you want it to look. stairs are really fun. So pay attention to how I'm doing the stairs. And if something just looks totally wrong, double check and make sure that you're taking things to the correct point. So look, I'm taking this more stairs. Super cool. I'm gonna add some pieces up higher in this area here because it's just feeling a little empty. I'm gonna attach it with a little piece there. Just kind of create more interaction between these pieces. Now I'm going to cut a little chunk out of the side. Almost like it's a backward C shape. Why? Because I can, and I'm trying to challenge myself. Here we're going to have two little slit windows. You're not going to see much, but you'll see a little bit of that depth coming in. See here at the bottom? Boom. So cool. And just for fun, I'm going to come in and just cut out little pieces of the sidewalk there. And maybe take a chunk out of the sidewalk here. Having a little floating set of blocks over here. We're going to cut a little piece of this one out. Clean up everything we don't want. You know, a drawing glove would be great for this part because you smudge so much pencil line. So here's the final drawing part of it. And then here's what happens when we add color to it. I kind of played with my color and my values with it, kind of did a little color mixing. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great time with this.